So my new novel is called The Tiger and the Cosmonaut. I happen to have a copy here. This is my one advance copy. It comes out on April 29th this spring. And it's about three siblings who are forced to reunite in their isolated small town in British Columbia when their father has gone missing in the woods beyond the family home. And it follows them as they come to realize that their father might be trapped in the memory of their family's most tragic night when several years earlier their youngest brother went missing in the same woods. And it's really a story about a Chinese Canadian immigrant family trying to uh, live their lives and succeed and thrive and prosper in a country like Canada that is, not a place where they have an inherent sense of belonging, and it follows them as they are, adults who starting to, I suppose, grapple with the realization that their family has been manipulated over the years. Yeah, I started writing this book in the darkest days of the pandemic, and it was during a time in my life when I started questioning my parents' experience having immigrated here from their birth country of Brunei. And so much of the book is quite personal in nature because even though it's not autobiographical in any sense, the family that's depicted in the book does mirror some of my own family's lived experiences. My parents came to Canada in the 1970s as newcomers from Brunei. Their own parents, so my grandparents, were refugees from China who had fled China during the war and settled in Brunei as newcomers to Brunei. So I have something of a theme of resettlement in my family's history. And I wrote this book during a time when I had a somewhat newfound curiosity about my parents' experiences. Growing up, of course, they always told me stories about what it was like in Brunei and how challenging it was for them to move from a place like that to a place like Canada. And I heard many stories of my parents shopping for winter coats for the first time because they had never needed a winter coat in the country that they came from. It was a tropical climate, and I heard a lot of those stories growing up. But I hadn't always had much of a curiosity around it until very recently, and I wrote this book also during a time when I was grappling with the reality that my parents weren't going to be around forever. And it seemed like a common theme among my own peers. We were at this age when we started to realize that our parents weren't going to be around forever. We were seeing evidence of them aging, and it was happening during a time when we were all feeling heightened fear for their own health and safety because the older part of society was more susceptible to this virus that was ravaging the world. And so much of this book really came from this place of wanting to understand my parents' history more deeply and wanting to honor their experiences and honor them, while also wrestling with the reality that they're aging like the rest of us. And so what I wanted to depict in this story is the very personal perspective of what it's like to move to a new country, to raise a family, to settle in a different society, and all the trials that come with that. Releasing anything into the world, there's a mixture of anticipation, excitement, something that I've dedicated so much of my time and energy and creativity into is finally going to be out in the world. That's very gratifying. At the same time, it can be very terrifying, and And I think this book especially is somewhat terrifying in that it is perhaps the most personal story that I've ever written. It, like I said, it is not autofiction by any means, but it certainly reflects elements of myself and my lived experience in ways that are just much deeper than some of my previous work. And so there's something, somewhat terrifying about that. I love sharing my work. I love talking about my work. I really enjoy that. Just even conversations like this are really gratifying for me. So I'm just really excited to talk about my work, to share it, to connect with readers, and to hear how they're responding to the story. That's all very, very exciting for me. I, ultimately, I'd say one of the main reasons that I do what I do is I hope that my work causes someone to think about something in a different way, to think about something that they may not have thought before, or to view something familiar in a slightly different way or from a slightly different angle. And I hope that's what I achieve with this book. But if not, if I even just entertain someone, if I thrill someone, if I, give someone a reason to stay up late at night, wanting to figure out what happens next, then I'm happy.